Pippa had been invited to a murder mystery party where she would be playing the role of Celia Bourne, a 29-year-old niece of Reginald Remy, the patriarch of the Remy Hotels and Casinos empire in London. Celia was an orphan. Her parents had died when she was very young, and she had never truly been welcomed into the family. She now worked in London as a governess for a wealthy household. The other characters at the party were Robert "Bobby" Remy, the eldest son of Reginald Remy, played by Aunt Lo; Ralph Remy, the youngest son of Reginald Remy, played by Zach Chen; Lizzie Remy, the wife of Reginald Remy, played by Lauren Gibson; Humphrey Todd, the butler at Remy Manor, played by Connor Reynolds; Dora Key, the cook at Remy Manor, played by Kara Ward. Pippa was nearly ready, dressed head to toe in 1920s fashion. Her mother had insisted on red lipstick, which she kept forgetting about, accidentally smudging it every time she touched her mouth. Her dad dropped her and Zach off at the Reynolds house. They walked up to the front door side by side. Zach looked slightly ridiculous. A red blazer with navy stripes, crisp white trousers, a black bow tie, and a straw boater hat perched on his straight dark hair. Connor opened the door dressed as the butler in a matching white waistcoat and bow tie, a tea towel folded neatly over one arm. Lauren appeared behind him in the hallway, wearing a red flapper dress with tassels that skimmed her knees. A bell-shaped hat concealed most of her ginger hair, and a string of pearls wrapped around her neck tapped against her Lizzie Remy badge. Connor's parents were away for the weekend, and his older brother Jamie, 6 years their senior, was also out. Jamie had been living at home ever since dropping out of university. In the kitchen, Pippa's best friend Kara was already in costume. A frumpy black dress with a long white cook's apron, her dark blonde hair tucked under a gray bandana. Aunt stood beside her, dressed in a pinstriped suit that was far too big for his slight frame. A glossy white tie, a black bowler hat, and a giant fake mustache completed his look. They were all buzzing with excitement. It was the end of June, and they had just finished their AS-level exams. This was the first time in a while that all 6 of them had hung out like this, despite living in the same town and attending the same school. Though they still had about a month left of term and EPQ proposals to submit soon, they were enjoying the moment. Pippa had planned to start working on her EPQ that weekend, even though her last exam had only been the day before. Everyone teased her for being such a workaholic. They made their way to the dining room to begin the game. As Connor opened the door, muffled, squealing sounds transformed into upbeat jazz pouring from an Alexa in the corner. The dining table had been extended, covered with a white tablecloth still marked with faint, crisscross folds. 3 tall, thin candles flickered at the center, red wax dripping slowly down their sides. Each place setting was carefully arranged, plates, wine glasses, cutlery, and small name cards at every seat. Pippa's eyes scanned for her character's name, Celia Bourne. She found it between Kara and Connor's places. Sitting down, she noticed a small booklet placed beside her plate, printed with the title, Killjoy Games, Murder at Remy Manor. Her character name was printed beneath it in bold letters, Celia Bourne. They were having Domino's pizza for dinner. Connor instructed everyone not to touch their booklets yet. He also asked them to hand over their phones. In the silence that followed, Pip could have sworn she heard something upstairs. Footsteps, maybe. But Connor had said they were home alone. She must have imagined it, or maybe it was just the wind rattling something. Connor put the phone box away and announced that, from now on, everyone had to stay in character. The group had gathered for Reginald Remy's 74th birthday, but the birthday boy hadn't turned up for dinner. Connor said they'd need to go looking for him. Pip already knew Reginald Remy was the murder victim. It was a murder mystery party, after all, but she didn't know what exactly they were supposed to find. A fake body? A photo of one? They passed a cupboard in the hallway with a piece of paper taped to it, reading billiard room. Pip made her way to Connor's dad's office, which tonight had been transformed into Reginald Remy's study. It was dark inside, and something about the desk chair seemed off. It was turned the wrong way, and a shadow disrupted its usual clean outline. There was something, or someone, sitting in that chair. Pip's heart started to pound as she crept along the wall, feeling for the light switch. She found it and flicked it on, holding her breath. The yellow light blinked to life. And there he was, someone slumped in the chair. Pip's stomach dropped, and all she could see was blood. So much blood. It was Jamie, Connor's older brother. He wasn't moving. His eyes were closed, and his head was tilted at a strange angle. The front of his once white shirt was soaked in red. Pip's mind stalled, emptied out. "Jejet," she began. but the word caught in her throat, crashing against her clenched teeth as she stared at him. Wait, was he moving? His chest shuddered, barely. Was she imagining it? No, he was shaking, juddering, laughing. He was laughing, trying to hold it in. His eyes opened and flicked up to her. Jamie, Pip muttered, half annoyed at him, half annoyed at herself. Of course it was just part of the game. She should have known. Jamie sat up, grinning. Sorry, he said. Up close, the fake blood was a little too red, a little too glossy. He dropped his head back dramatically and closed his eyes again just as the others began to arrive. Connor stepped forward and announced, "It seems that Reginald Remy has been murdered," he added in a theatrical tone. "I shall call Scotland Yard at once, and also order the pizza." They all returned to the dining room, sitting back in their assigned places. Pip resisted the urge to peek at her booklet. A few minutes passed before Jamie volunteered to take over as host so that Connor could join in the fun. Jamie was now playing Inspector Howard Way from Scotland Yard. He was there to investigate the murder. "Sal Singh did it!" Aunt shouted suddenly, clearly expecting a laugh. But the table fell silent. Of course, there had been a real murder in their town, Little Kilton, just over 5 years ago. Andy Bell, who had been the same age Pip was now, was murdered by her boyfriend, Sal Singh. He killed himself days later. It was, according to the police, an open and shut case of murder-suicide. And everywhere in Little Kilton, reminders of the tragedy lingered. The school where both Andy and Sal had studied. The woods behind Pip's house where Sal's body had been found. The memorial bench for Andy on the town common. The Bell and Singh families still lived there, their presence constant, visible. Sometimes Pip forgot how deeply the murder had woven itself into the fabric of their town, how unnormal it really was to live so close to something so terrible. Some people had been closer to it than others. Kara's older sister Naomi had been one of Sal's best friends. That's how Pip had known him too. He had always been kind to her, always. She hadn't wanted to believe he could do something so awful. But, as everyone said, open and shut. He did it, so he must have. Pip glanced up at Jamie and caught a flicker of something in his expression. Shock. He had been in the same year as Andy, taken the same classes, known her too. "Shut up, Aunt," Kara said seriously. "Yes," Jamie added, recovering quickly. Typical Bobby Remy, always interrupting and attention-seeking. "Now, since Reginald Remy is dead, and since you are the only people on the secluded private island of Joy, and there's only one boat a day, one of you must be the murderer. But together, we can solve this mystery and bring the killer to justice." He handed out small notebooks and pens so everyone could jot down clues and theories. Pip immediately wrote her name on the first page and started taking notes. "To begin," Jamie continued, "how about we go around the table and introduce ourselves? Let's start with you, Bobby." Aunt stood up. "Hi, everyone. My name is Robert Bobby Remy. I'm 39 years old and the oldest. And favorite," he added with a teasing glance at Zach, "son of Reginald Remy. I used to work for the Remy Hotels and Casinos empire and was due to inherit the company from my father. But a few years ago, I realized hard work isn't really my thing. Since then, I've just been taking it easy in London. Thank God my father still paid me an allowance. Paid, I mean. Oh, my poor father, who could have done this?" He clutched his chest in an over-the-top theatrical manner. "Okay, next," Jamie said, pointing to Zach. "Hi all, I'm Ralph Remy, Reginald's younger son, aged 36. I work for Remy Hotels and Casinos, and for the last few years my father had been training me to take over the company. He'd technically retired, but still made most of the executive decisions. We worked well as a team." He paused before pointing to Lauren, sitting 2 seats over. "This is my lovely wife, Lizzie. We've been married 4 years and are very happy together." He reached over to pat Lauren awkwardly on the shoulder, then sat down again. "Me?" Lauren stood up next. "I'm Lizzie Remy, née Tasker, 32 years old. I'm Reginald's daughter-in-law, married to Ralph. Yes, very happy, dear," she said with a smile down at Zach. "I also work at the family company, currently managing the flagship London casino. Some of you might not think I belong in this family, but I've earned my place here, and that's all I have to say." Next was Pip, who stood, trying to push thoughts of her project proposal waiting at home out of her mind. "I'm Celia Bourne, 29 years old. Reginald Remy was my uncle. My parents died tragically when I was younger, so the Remys are the only family I have, though they probably need reminding of that, she added with a pointed look toward Aunt and Zach. How nice that you all work for the family company. I've never been offered such a thing. Currently, I work as a governess in London, teaching the children of a very welcoming family. Ooh, my detective skills are picking up on some tension here, Jamie said with a grin. And now, the household staff? He turned to Kara and Connor. Yes, Connor began, slipping into character. I'm Humphrey Todd, 62 years young. I've served as the butler here at Remy Manor for the past 20 years. It hasn't always been easy, living somewhere so remote. I have a daughter, you see, whom I don't often get to visit. But Mr. Remy always paid me fairly, and I've always had the utmost respect for my master. Over the years, seeing each other every day, I believe we came to be good friends. Aunt snorted. No one makes friends with the staff. Bobby! Zach turned to him, appalled. Don't be cruel. Very good, sir, Connor replied, unfazed. Kara stepped up next. Last but not least, I'm Dora Key, and for the record, I'm only 56. Even though I've heard some of you gossiping that I look 86, she added with a meaningful glance at Pip. I'm the household cook. I haven't actually been at Remy Manor very long, only about 6 months. There used to be more staff here, apparently, but after the master's wife died, he started letting people go. I suppose he realized he couldn't live without a cook. Me and old Hump here keep the place running, even if it is hard work. Now that we've finished the introductions, Jamie continued, let me share what we know so far based on my initial inspection of the crime scene. All of you arrived yesterday, Friday, on the same boat from the mainland, here to stay for the weekend. This evening, on his 74th birthday, Reginald Remy was found dead in his study. Cause of death, a fatal stab wound straight to the heart. Death would have been instantaneous. There are no defensive wounds, which suggests Reginald knew and trusted his killer. They were able to get close without raising suspicion. Pip was already on her second page of notes, scribbling furiously. Our next task is to determine the time of death and establish your alibis, Jamie said. So if everyone would now turn to the first page of their booklets. No further. Pip picked up her booklet and opened it flat on her plate. She read the first page quickly, then again more carefully, glancing sideways to make sure Connor and Kara weren't watching her. She adjusted her expression, concealing anything that might give away Celia Bourne's secrets. According to the booklet, Celia's alibi was that she had been in bed, taking a nap to rest up before the big birthday dinner, her allergies acting up again. She was also instructed to cast doubt on Lizzie Remy's alibi. Ralph spoke up. Lizzie, Celia, and I were having tea in the library with my father. The cook brought us scones and cake. The women left first, and when we were finished, I walked my father to the grand staircase. He told me he was heading to his study to get a few things in order before the meal. That was around 5:15 p.m. When Jamie asked if anyone had seen Reginald after that, the answer around the table was unanimous. No. Celia found the body at approximately 6:30 p.m., Jamie continued. So the murder must have occurred between 5:15 and 6:30 p.m. He began gathering alibis. Connor, in character as the butler, responded first. Well, I was in here, he said, gesturing to the dining room, setting up for the evening meal. Aunt demanded proof, clearly as part of his character. Connor replied, My proof is the very table you're sitting at, young sir. When else do you think I would have had time to prepare this room? Zach turned to Bobby. And where were you? You didn't join us for tea in the library like you were supposed to. In fact, you've been missing all afternoon. If you must know, Aunt said, I went for a walk, to clear my head, by the cliffs. I'm sure you understand why, Ralph. Ralph added, Well, I took a walk around the grounds too. After I said goodbye to Father, I went for a stroll around the south side of the island, to burn off the scones and build up an appetite for dinner. Oh, really? That's interesting, said Zach, raising an eyebrow. Because I was there too, and I didn't see you, Ralph. I can't be sure of the exact time, Inspector. The kitchen clock's been broken for a while. But I think it was then that I went over to the vegetable patch on the south side. And I don't recall seeing anyone else. Our paths must not have crossed, Ralph replied calmly. Kara interjected. Clearly. What about you, Celia? Were you also wandering the grounds? Pip chimed in, offering the alibi that had been given to her. Then she turned to Lauren and asked, Where were you? Well, Lauren began. At tea, I somehow managed to get jam all over myself, so I decided to take a bath and freshen up before dinner. So that's where I was, in the tub, in my room. Have you heard of bathing, Celia dear? Pip countered sharply. For an hour and 15 minutes? I take long baths, Lauren replied coolly. That's interesting though, Pip said. The upstairs pipes run right past my room, and I always hear it when someone lets out their bathwater. It makes a terrible racket, but the pipes were silent this evening. Kara let out a dramatic gasp. Lauren, flustered, snapped, I thought you said you were asleep. How could you have heard anything? Pip had no answer. Okay, that's very interesting, Jamie said thoughtfully, scratching his chin. So it seems that each one of you was alone at the time of the murder, which in fact means that none of you, not one, has a solid alibi. Kara let out another gasp, but she overdid it and began to cough. Pip gently patted her on the back. So, Pip continued, every single one of you had both the means and the opportunity to commit this murder. The question is, who among you also had a motive? She paused for effect, then added, there's one final thing I discovered during my initial search of the study, the murder weapon. It was left beside the body. No fingerprints, so either the killer wore gloves or wiped it clean afterward. It was a knife, one of the kitchen knives. Everyone turned to look at Kara. What? Oh, I see. Blame it all on the poor cook, eh? Kara said, crossing her arms. Not if you weren't in there, Zach said quietly. I wasn't. I told you. I went to the vegetable patch. Look, come with me. She stood up. Come with me. I have proof. She stormed out of the dining room. I guess we should follow her, Jamie said. This had to be part of the game, something written in Kara's booklet. Pip followed Kara into the kitchen, notebook and pen in hand. Kara explained that one of the guests had left her a note, but she didn't know where it was. She asked everyone to help her find it. Connor discovered an envelope tucked between two plates. On the side were the words, Clue number 1. Kara asked him to read it aloud. Darlene, for dinner tonight, I'm requesting a carrot cake to be made for dessert. It is the birthday boy's favorite, after all. Make sure it's moist. Signed by RR. Connor looked confused. Who's Darlene? He asked. Kara rolled her eyes. Apparently, someone couldn't be bothered to learn her actual name.